Welcome to the Going Beyond podcast. I'm your host, Randi Zinn. I'm a mother, an author, and an entrepreneur who is committed to and curious about living a life that is always evolving. This is a lifestyle podcast covering health, both body and mind, self-care, why it is a necessity, and how tough it can be to master, entrepreneurship, its ups and downs, cultural disruption, and the topics we sometimes avoid, as well as love, sex, friendship, and more. This podcast is a place and a community for people who are willing to do the hard work of growth, who want the tools and inspiration to step into it, and who want to grow each and every day of their lives. I interview movement makers, leaders, survivors, writers, and founders. Their stories move me and will move you to cultivate more strength and clarity during every step of your day. Enjoy today's episode, and thanks for spending time with me at this very special place in my life over here at the Going Beyond podcast. The last 12 months have been tough, but for many of us, it also sparked the desire to do meaningful and inspiring work that can bring real change to our lives and our communities. I believe what the world needs most right now are meaningful, inclusive platforms that empower, connect, and heal, which is why I'm so excited to announce the launch of my one-on-one Going Beyond mentorship program, where we can work together to take your unique vision and bring it to life in a tangible way. I've been in your shoes and built a brand very close to my heart from the ground up. And now I'm eager to help you get your idea off the ground. Together, we'll define your next level vision, understand your audience, begin building your vision, and identify the platforms to best deliver your message. For more information, check out the mentorship section on goingbeyondmovement.com with insights on the program, testimonials from my mentees, and our customized intake form to help get you started. Let's make this year the one where we truly make a difference, and let's do it together. Hey, everybody. Welcome to today's conversation. Thanks for being here. Today is a unique conversation because we're going to get to really dive into a brand story that is so, I guess I would call it a heart-centered brand. And I speak to a lot of women who are building heart-centered brands. So when I say heart-centered, I mean, it's not just a product that you create because you just want to create something. It's like there's a purpose and there is a desire to make an impact via whatever you're creating. And this conversation today is a chance to really learn about a company doing that work, who's behind it, and some real life insights about what it means to communicate from a place of mission, a place of do-gooding, and a place of meaning, which I would say since COVID-19, I noticed that there are more and more brands out there that are speaking to this part of ourselves. There's more ideas coming to our minds that stem from that place. I don't think it's by accident. I think we're really seeing that people want and need meaning with whatever it is that they're doing. So I'm really excited to get into it today. I'm joined by Marquis Matson. She's the VP of Community and Content Marketing for this brand in focus today. It's called Sozy. And Sozy is a small female-founded clothing brand based in Encinitas, California, that supports women in every part of the business. Styles are designed by women, for women, with 10% of profit supporting survivors of sexual violence. Their products are USA made, carbon neutral, and one tree is planted with every order. They're partners with 1% for the Planet, and they are B Corp certified. The purpose of Sozy is to make style and comfort synonymous. I'm all about that. Those of you who follow me online know I'm all about style and comfort. And I think what's really cool is that Sozy is created by women who want to feel beautiful and be comfortable. And the mission of this brand is also to support women in need. This partnership with RAINN, stands for Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network. It's the nation's largest anti-sexual violence organization, and to be able to lift women up through this work, it's so profound. So Marquis is here with us today. She's actually based in Australia, so it's late afternoon for me, it's morning for her, and we're going to talk about this beautiful company, we're going to talk about her work, and we're going to talk about why uplifting women through our products, through how we express them online, why it's not only important, but a beautiful process. So Marquis, welcome to the show today.
Thank you so much. You nailed that intro. That was great.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's a chance to express why I want to have the conversation. So I'm intrigued because when I came across Sozy, I immediately felt like I was seeing an expression of a brand that allowed women to be feminine, but everybody looked so happy and comfortable. And that immediately is like something I want to wear. And then when I started reading more about the brand, I became really interested because it's like every step just feels so deliberate about making an impact for the lives of women and also the planet. So tell me a little bit about, first of all, who founded this brand and, how it got started.
Yeah, Lanai is the founder and CEO, and she's just like, her brain is on. And so you mentioned that every single detail is accounted for, and it's all because of her. She's super on top of it and has thought every detail through. So the idea came originally because she just was uncomfortable in her underwear, basically, and she just wanted to make her own. And she thought this must be common for most women. So her mother-in-law made basically a prototype for her to wear, and then she decided to try to sell it. And that's how Sozy was born. And Sozy is a combination of words, soft and cozy together. Yeah, and then it just sort of grew into this. And right now, I don't even think we have any underwear on the shop, but it just grew into this idea that women should be able to be comfortable. Like, we don't have to sacrifice comfort just to look good. That doesn't make any sense. You can look sexy, as you could see from the clothing, even if you're just totally casual.
Yeah, I felt like when I saw the variety of product also, it's like, it almost looks like everything can go with everything, but it's like a mixture of skirts and dresses and tops and all of these things that I could just imagine like walking around and feeling comfortable and at your best. But funny that you mentioned underwear. I didn't see underwear.
Yeah, I think it's definitely evolved. I'm not sure if she'll do it again, but I love the clothing now. It's actually kind of hard working on the website and not buying everything.
Oh my God, I can imagine. So I'm also curious and I ask these questions particularly because I work closely with a lot of founders and a lot of female entrepreneurs, and I mentor them. And it's amazing to see how women come at business ideas, where it's like, on one hand, there's an idea of like, oh, I love to make things, so I want to make things. But more often than not, I feel like women, especially now, like I said in my intro, are coming from a place of really wanting to make a difference. So I'm curious where the give back and the impact component of Sozy fits in terms of the creation of the brand.
Yeah. It's interesting because when I first started with them, that was a part of the conversation. And I asked why the way that they built it. And it was basically like, we want to enter into the mainstream fast fashion model and capture audiences that would otherwise be spending money on brands that aren't doing anything, and then kind of divert that money into things that are good. So that's why they're donating to so many organizations, because that's a part of it, just using this sort of as a vessel of distributing wealth and resources to people who need it and things who need it.
Wow. Yeah. No, right. So, because if you think about it, someone can just go to H&M, right? Not that they're not trying to do whatever they're trying to do, but it even seems like just the commitment to being carbon neutral and producing in the United States and all the things that sort of mitigate the footprint is part of how it's been designed.
Yeah, exactly. It's remarkable. I love working with them because I'm learning so much about how to be able to run a business that you believe in. Like, every step is something that they consciously decided, this is what we want to do at this step. It's great.
Is the whole staff female?
No. So her husband does work just sort of, that's who I work with a lot because he is kind of helping with the marketing stuff. Well, I shouldn't say helping. He's pretty genius with the marketing stuff. But everyone that I've worked with has been female other than him. So I think she runs it and all of us are doing the work. And yeah, they're just like a power couple.
Very cool. And so there are women designing for women. I mean, what does that look like?
She designs everything. It's remarkable. I love it. So every time she comes up with a new item, then she picks the fabric that goes with it and then just kind of tests it out. And then, yeah, so she's the one behind everything, design from start to finish, every single step.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing because the website is full. I mean, it's not like she designed one thing. Like there's a lot of variety, beautiful prints, beautiful different frames, kind of like shorter, longer, cropped, twisted. Like I just see all these mixtures of look.
Yeah, I've been meaning to ask her where she gets her ideas from because they're always so different. Because she comes up with new ideas so often that I wonder like how she has this resource of ideas flowing out of her brain.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so Marquis, tell us more about you and your work from a marketing standpoint and an expression of the brand standpoint online. Because of course we all know nowadays, especially again, no matter what the platform, no matter what the product, you have to communicate and you have to do it efficiently and in a way that brings people into the story. And that happens on your website or on Instagram, and it's how you reach and express to people. So tell us not only how is Sozy doing that, but what's your ethos? What's your focus from that angle?
Yeah, so I'm actually an SEO. That's like my main bread and butter. And I started because I originally had a regular job in the US, like everyone starts out. And then I wanted to be a digital nomad. So I quit and just tried to figure out what I could learn online that would pay for the bills. And I came into SEO and grew from there. But while I was doing that, I was living in South America, and it just really made it so obvious how easy my life was, how privileged I was. Like for no reason at all, I was given things, resources, jobs, help, support, everything I needed. People were willing to give it to me while I was living there. And that really, it was upsetting. It hurt because I felt like that's not fair. I had friends who were super qualified for jobs and I was being offered jobs there because I was white and American, basically. So I asked my friend who was living there, who's from there, Ecuador is where I was living. And I asked her what I should do about it because it didn't feel good. And she said, share your privilege, share the resources that you have, give it to others, pass it off. And that really, it's sort of stuck with me. So ever since then, I've made it a mission as an SEO to partner with brands that I could do good, brands that I could help spread resources and support a mission that I believed in rather than using my brain and my skills and my access to resources just to make more money in this machine. I wanted to use it on things like this. So when I'm creating content, I look at it from an SEO perspective. So I'm looking at keywords and optimization and stuff, but it's really a fine balance of science and then heart-centered stuff because I do a lot of content in yoga and meditation as well. And when you're looking at search volumes, like how many times per month are people around the world searching for a particular topic, it's almost like you get to peek into the psyche of humanity. You get to see what people are searching for when nobody's looking. And sometimes it's pretty funny, but sometimes it's like, it's heavy. It's really gets you. And so that's kind of where I'm always, for SEO, for a scientific mind, you talk about user intent. You want to provide content that somebody is looking for. But then when you really start to ask the question, what are they really looking for? It gets pretty personal. And that's a really great opportunity on Sozy's blog. Of course, we have fun stuff like food and the best wine to drink and stuff like that. But we also have really serious stuff. And when people are looking for things, it's always an opportunity to sort of introduce one more idea or one more resource that could potentially change the path that they're on. At least that's the way that I look at it. And yeah, I think as far as social media and everything like that, it's just trying to capture that audience that would otherwise go to big brands that maybe don't care about the world, and inviting them into this community of like, look, we're women who we don't want to try to look sexy in this uncomfortable outfit, and we don't want to be super skinny and fit. Like, if you are, that's great and good for you, but not every body type is like that. And we want to acknowledge that as well. And we want to acknowledge that you can look sexy in basically a t-shirt dress or, whatever you want. So I think that's really attractive. It's always just sort of putting out this idea like, yes, come, welcome. And when you join the fold, then you can learn about these other things that we're doing and hopefully just spread that awareness. I mean, that's where I'm coming from, especially in the content. And I think that generally the whole company is as well.
Friends, I'm so excited to finally announce the launch of the Going Beyond store. Shop our latest collection on goingbeyondmovement.com, where you'll find tanks and leggings for your workouts or me time, a mug to cozy up and reset, a Beyond bracelet to remind yourself that no one can stop you from being authentically you, and much more. Each item has an affirmation written on it to serve as your personal reminder that even on the toughest of days or years, you have the power to go beyond any limits or doubts that are holding you back. Let's show the world that we're both powerful and proud. Shop the collection today at goingbeyondmovement.com. You kind of just opened my eyes. Honestly, I have never thought of SEO as almost like a service to the needs of humanity, but you just opened my eyes to that. So, which leads me to say, is that obviously I'm always thinking about the needs of women. What do you believe the woman, especially who's interacting with your brand and reading your blog content and shopping on the site deeply, what do those women actually need?
So I was reading through your website to make sure that I knew more before coming here. And there's something that really stood out to me in your mission that reminds me of a book that I'm reading right now, actually called The Heroine's Journey. I'm not sure if you've heard it. Yeah, I think you would like it. She talks about, there's the original, The Hero's Journey. Oh, I forget who the author is, but it's a pretty common read for especially men. It's a philosophical read on what men are going through as they come into manhood, basically. And it's the process of becoming a hero. And so the heroine's journey kind of picks that apart. Like, yeah, okay, that's great, but that only applies to men. And then the whole introduction of her book, she's talking about women before. We have never been in this position where we've been able to be so independent and have these roles and things like that. And not only that, but we're also, success is measured by what men have done before us. And so we're meant to keep up with them. And so we're only successful or worthwhile if we do these certain jobs and we do it at a certain pace. And if we have emotion or if we have intuition, then we're seen as weak, when that's not the case. Like, that's denying millions of years of evolution, if that's what you believe in, that has developed in a really unique way. Intuition is deeper than just having emotional thoughts. It's connected to the earth. It's connected to, we're like a portal bringing human beings to this planet in a way. So it's bigger than just having thoughts. And so her book kind of talks about that. Like, women, we're at a really unique time in history where women can say, okay, we tried the man's model. That's good for you, but that's not what we want or need as a gender, or even just as a human being. And so, I mean, that's like really philosophical to answer your question, but I think it's that. I think it's just, when I'm providing content, yeah, it's generally pretty light. I'm not talking about like taking down the patriarchy in the content that I'm making, but I am trying to recognize that process of trying the man's path and it not feeling good, it not working, but you still want to be successful. You still want to be an entrepreneur. You still want to do good and follow your intuition anyway, even though it's a hard path for us. And it's really cool that we're in a time where we can talk about it openly.
I agree. I mean, I feel like the online space has become almost like this open book of storytelling. And the storytelling comes through, everything from personal posts to the expression of a brand that women get to wear, like Sozy. And it does get to tell, to your point, and I love how you phrased it, that the old paradigm isn't working. And so we're finally, it's almost like our vibration is rising and we're starting to talk from a different level. And what I think that's also expressing are in new products and new platforms and new ways. I see it, I feel it. And I think we've had to see some really painful things in order to reach that place and to sort of be, I don't think it's an accident that our voices are rising, especially after such an insane period of history, 2020 into 2021, where we've been sort of sandwiched tighter into our realities. And so all these new things are coming alive and new perspectives are coming out.
Yeah, it's great. It is painful. You're right. To see what women are going through publicly. Like, if we're talking about sexual assaults, most women have been assaulted in some way or another. And we don't talk about it openly because it's a heavy conversation. And there comes with it a lot of other things that we will have to carry, and like the reaction of the person maybe we're telling. And so it's really hard to see this coming out, but it's also really beautiful. Like, enough. We don't want this anymore. And for the women that can't speak out, we'll speak for you and we'll do what we can to bring everybody up, because I think COVID has obviously been really awful for many reasons, but it's empowered a lot of people, and it's brought to light a lot of things that I think was easy to ignore because we had all of our shopping and we had our restaurants and we had an easy life that we could live without paying attention to these things.
Yeah, we could kind of be comfortable in whatever we were lucky enough to be comfortable in. And many of us, and I'm glad you brought up, the white privilege piece of it. I mean, we've sort of reached a realization that so many of the things that we have are not for any good reason except for the color of our skin and the way that our society has just been built to service that. So when you start making the commitment to see things differently, to voice things differently, what comes of that are elevated forms of communication, elevated brands, and that's exciting. I think that's the really exciting stuff. So I'm curious also about, I noticed that Sozy has what's defined as a community and ambassadors, and it seems like bringing women together is really also really important. So tell me a bit more about how that's been and what that's looked like pre-COVID and post.
Yeah, I think pre-COVID, I'm not sure because I started working with them in the middle of COVID, so I'm not sure exactly what the experience was like internally. And it's a fairly new brand, but it's been growing in momentum, I think, because a lot of women can resonate with what we offer, like, yes, I do want to wear that. No, I don't want to wear something that is like cutting into my stomach or, making me feel really uncomfortable. And it's been a fairly easy process to try to get people to join the ambassador program, because you get a gift card initially and then you get a discount. So that's always a huge incentive. But I also think that it's just a fun brand. Everybody, like you said, just looks like they're having a good time. And I think people are genuinely surprised by how it actually is comfortable and soft, the clothing. And that's always really fun. Like, I can think of 3 outfits of mine that are really, really soft, So I think that's really fun. And it's easy to say yes when we ask, do you want to be an ambassador? I think. And that is the fun part, because then we introduce ourselves to people that maybe hadn't noticed us yet.
Yeah, I love it. I'm personally very excited because I'm doing an interview on your blog. So I'm excited to, express myself now that I've gotten a chance to understand more of the brand through this conversation. And I'm also excited to order an outfit and to rock it. So we'll see how that all turns out, but it will go online. So I'm curious, and this can totally come from very much your personal perspective, but also from the perspective of the work you do. It's really kind of up to you where this question strikes you. But I've noticed in my mentorship work with women who are launching brands or platforms of meaning that are heart-centered, it's fascinating to see how challenging it can be for women to own it, right? Like, we have these ideas, we have these visions, we have these commitments, and yet we'll second guess our work and our ability to grow. And I've really honed in on 3 questions that I work with my clients on that really kind of cut to the heart of it and get you to a place to see really clearly like what matters most. So they're the most simple questions, but the questions are, why does this idea matter? And then why is it me, creating this idea? In other words, what about me personally is sort of the channel for this idea? And then why now? Why does this idea matter in this time, this moment in history? So when it comes to Sozy, like we've kind of just talked about this beautiful, soft, flowing, feminine, product line, clothing line. And then we've talked about this give back component, and we've talked about reaching community. But I'd love to hear your thoughts about like why the people who are serving the brand, whether that's the founder, yourself, others, and why now?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it just all came together pretty perfectly from what I know about Lanai's process. She just was like, this is what women want. That's not what I'm experiencing as a consumer, is not what I want. And I know enough women that feel the same. And so that's and also she had experience in running a business in her previous position. So she knew enough, I think, to feel empowered to just start and just see, like, why not? I can totally see it in her as well, because she's very detail oriented. She remembers things and it pays attention to everything. So I think that it was just like, why not? I can just do this right now. I have the skills, I have an idea. And if I don't have the skills, I can eventually either learn them or hire someone to do it. And it just came out. And yeah, it's just coming up with an idea for herself and going through and then doing good out of it. Like if she's going to produce this whole brand, it might as well do something that she believes in. And I think that it came pretty naturally, just a time in her life when it was ready to come out is really what it seems like. And as far as me and my experience, so coming back to the heroine's journey, I also followed the man's path, like I went to school, I got a job, and I was doing all the things that you were supposed to do. But it just felt so meaningless. It just felt so empty. And I didn't understand at the time why I wasn't satisfied with it. But adding this component of using my time and energy and knowledge and everything to support these kinds of ideas and these kinds of founders that are trying to do good. Like, I don't want to start a business. I think that sounds like a tremendous amount of work. That's not what I'm about. But I am so happy to be able to find people like this and then support them in their mission, because it's something that I believe in too. And I don't know exactly the personal, emotional side that Lynn and I went through. We haven't spoken about that quite yet, but for me, it wasn't difficult. It wasn't a difficult decision. It was just like my friend, when she said that to me, share your resources, share your privilege, it just cleared the fog and everything made sense. So that moment was when I knew that's what I had to do with myself and any opportunity I could. So I imagine it was something similar for Lanai. Just, you know what? I have been working for other people's companies long enough. This is now my time to do what I really want to do for the world.
I love that. I've been chatting actually with my partner about imposter syndrome, and he sort of was almost like making the statement of, it's something that like we need to really like get past in a sense. And I believe that we're working on it. I think the imposter syndrome comes from a place of women, to your point, existing within masculine framework for how to do things and how to live. And then we're sort of told like we have rights, we should go for it, we should be everything, but we're still, at the same time, either outwardly or subtly being told, don't speak too loud, don't show yourself too bright, don't risk too much. So it's confusing. And I think what happens is that second guessing of self is like that dance between two realities. So my hope is that this kind of work and these kinds of founders and these kinds of people like yourself who desperately want to give back and be part of companies and missions that are doing important work are part of turning that page and shifting out of that older, outdated way of doing things.
Yeah, exactly. Like at the very least, I hope it's an inspiration for women to come. And, all this talk about shifting reality, like men aren't doing a bad job. There's also good, like Patagonia is great and their entire ethos is to support the environment. And there's a lot of really good male brands out there. And that's fine. That's great. But it doesn't fit the way that women are. And sometimes there are really awful male run brands, And so to be able to provide this platform to show like we are for women and this is how we do it, I think it could be really inspiring just for anybody, whoever can hear it or see it. And imposter syndrome is really difficult in the SEO world as well. It's just in general when you're coming into it, because I don't know that there's a degree in SEO. Maybe there is, but most people are self-taught. So at a certain point, you have to break through that, especially as a woman. I've talked with other female SEOs and it's, people don't take your ideas seriously because it comes from you. And so you have to like package it with a man. And when a man kind of supports you, then people take it seriously or things like that. But what my message would be to other women who are in the middle of imposter syndrome is just keep trying, just keep faking it until you actually realize like, wow, I do know what I'm doing and I am getting results and people do respect that. Just give yourself a reality check. Like, do people respect what you're saying? Are you getting results? Have you met most of your goals? It doesn't have to be perfect, but just keep going until suddenly you look around and you realize that you are what you wanted to be.
Right. You're actually doing it.
Yeah. You don't have to be perfect.
Yeah. No, I love that. It's great. Great advice. Thank you. Well, I'm so glad that we got to learn a little bit more about Sozy. And I feel like I got a sense of a whole other view, what people need and how that can be supported, which is beautiful. And I'm sure my listeners got a bit of that too. So thank you. Let everybody know where we can follow and of course shop Sozy.
Yeah, livesozy.com. So livesozy.com. And that is our handle on all social media as well, livesozy. So come check out the new outfits. They're so cute. The latest batch is so cute.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm placing my order like as we speak. Awesome. Well, Marquis, thank you so much. Say hi to Australia for us.
I will.
And thank you for sharing your thoughts and your wisdom with us at the podcast. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me and also for what you're doing. I think it's great. It's really beautiful. We need facilitators like this. So I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Until next time, everybody, take care. Bye.